In this video we're going to talk about battery life from your Fujifilm camera and 10 simple hacks how you can improve your battery life with any Fujifilm camera. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For every new face on the channel, I'm Florian. And if you're new to the channel, you might want to think about hitting a subscribe button, that would be much appreciated. So guys, we all know the drama about batteries. If it's a new one from Fujifilm, the Fujifilm X-T4 battery or the X-T3, X-T2, X Pro 3, etc. We all want a decent battery life. However, with a mirrorless camera, the battery life isn't as powerful or doesn't last as long as with a DSLR camera. Today I'm going to show you 10 simple tricks or hacks how you can improve your battery life. And before we keep talking, let's dive into the menu. First thing we're gonna do is we come into our menu and go down to the wrench icon and come over to power management. So first of all, what I would do is make sure your auto power off setting is on or is set to a timings such as like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. This basically means if you don't use your camera will fall automatically into a sleep mode and you just need to hit the shutter button again to basically wake up your camera, which will definitely save you on battery. Right now, if you, let's say, go out and you don't take every 30 seconds a picture, your camera will fall asleep after your set amount of time. I got it set to 2 minutes and usually it works quite well for my personal needs. So also what I would do is make sure that under power management you choose your performance mode boost. So basically this means that when you set your camera to performance as here right now to normal, your camera will operate in normal. If you would set it to boost, it will increase your, let's say, shutter speed or your pictures you can take per second. Like a Fujifilm X-T3 can take up to 30 images per second. So you need to set your camera to boost mode to reach those 30 frames per second when taking images. The slightly different story here is that the X-T4 as an example, and perhaps the XS10 as well, got an economy mode as well. So basically boost mode will suck the most battery. Normal mode will have a normal operating system, and if you go to economy, it probably the most power saving option for your camera. So make sure if you don't have the economy option, choose normal mode and you will be fine, and your battery or camera will operate in an average battery usage. Then we're still sticking down to the setup menu and we're coming down to connection settings. Also make sure, come over to Bluetooth settings and make sure if you don't need a Bluetooth setting that this is always set to off. Bluetooth drains the battery fairly quick, so always if you don't transfer images from a camera down to your phone, make sure that your Bluetooth setting is set to off. So then we coming up to our autofocus or manual focus settings, and we coming down to pre-autofocus setting. Set this one to off. Usually you don't need it and you don't need the camera always to hunt for focus. If you got it set to on, it basically means that your camera constantly is looking to focus and hit focus. So this means if you would move the camera around, it will try to focus wherever you point your camera towards to. So that's definitely setting I did switch off, because usually when I want to focus, I press a shutter speed in a certain moment and then the camera is meant to focus. Then we're coming one more time down to the setup menu and coming over to screen setup, coming down to image display off. Because we're shooting mirrorless cameras, we see the image before we take it. So you don't need after every single shot a displayed picture or the picture you just took. Personally speaking, I don't need it, therefore I did switch it off. So next setting I personally switch off when I don't use it to save some battery is if we're coming back to the AF MF setting menu, going down to the second page, face and eye detection is set to off when I don't need it, or I don't shoot people, or I don't try to vlog myself where I want the autofocus to set to my face. There's no point in having a setting running which tries to hunt for a face if there's no face in this moment, and probably it will drain a battery fairly quick as well. So it's another setting I do switch off when I don't need it. So coming into the Q menu, one thing I definitely would recommend is making sure that your screen brightness is always set to neutral or 0, or to a minus number if possible. Of course, sometimes there are situations outdoors when it's bright and sunny that you can't see your screen and you need to turn up your screen brightness. However, this will drain your battery fairly quick as well. So ideally, if you can, always leave a LCD brightness set to 0, or in a perfect world, if possible, even to -2 or 3, and darken your screen a bit. Elsewise, I would recommend at least try to leave it on 0 to save as much battery as you can. So that's personal preference now. I personally try to work around and switching at least the LCD display off or the eyepiece off. For the simple reason, if I take portraits, I mainly use the eyepiece, so I try to switch the LCD off. If I would vlog, I mainly use the LCD and switch the eyepiece off. Just that the sensor on your eyepiece basically is set to off and it doesn't switch always around, and it using battery up, which is not needed. But that's personal preference, guys. You can choose like between eye sensor and LCD image display, so you basically got both on, or you decide I just want to use the eye sensor piece and switch the LCD display off. That depends on you guys. I personally, depends what I do. If I do a lot of photography, I probably will use my eyepiece and leave the LCD display off, and it will save me a lot of battery as well. So here's another setting which definitely counts for the X-T4 and Fujifilm X-S10, and it's about the IBIS. You can choose between continuous IBIS and shooting only. This basically just means that if you have it on continuous mode, then your IBIS is constantly on, constantly running and trying to balance the sensor. If you set it to shooting only and you start hitting a shutter button, or you film, you vlog, it will just, or the IBIS will just be on when the shutter button got pressed, or you record a video, a vlog, or whatever it might be. So definitely a point to think about it. If you do a lot of stills images or mainly still images and you just run and gun and press the shutter button, it's probably a good idea to have it set to shooting only. If you do a lot of filming or you always want your IBIS on, definitely set it to continuous. But then again, guys, that's personal preference. So guys, all those settings are personal preference, things which worked for me, and maybe some of them are working for you as well, maybe some of them don't. You guys have a look in the menu, dial them in, see how you get on, if they are actually beneficial to you or not. I think you definitely can squeeze a bit of power and life out of the camera with simple, easy settings like the settings I shown you. But at the end of the day, there's just one way. If you want more power, you need batteries, and there's no way around. Always have a spare battery and you're on the safe side. And with that said, guys, like, comment and subscribe if you liked this video today, and I'm gonna see you, my friend, very soon in another one. Cheers, guys.